How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the Bugatti Veyron from a first-person point of view. What came out in 2005 to become the first ever hypercar, the Veyron is still a legend to this day. Under the hood, or in the middle of the Veyron, I should say, is an 8-liter W16 engine. That's right, 16 cylinders, with 4 turbochargers making 1,001 horsepower and 922 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in a ridiculously fast 2.5 seconds, and it goes on to a top speed of 254 miles an hour. Now get this. The car has 10 radiators, and at its top speed of 254 miles an hour, it runs out of fuel in just 12 minutes. I love the active rear wing that pops up at over 120 miles an hour for added stability. It also has an incredibly cool rear end with a single exit exhaust that, if you look really closely, it's actually 2 different exhaust tips. Now, if we go ahead and go inside the car, beautiful door handle, it reveals a surprisingly nice interior for its generation. It's really remained current, honestly. It doesn't feel dated whatsoever, and I'll talk about why. We've got these gorgeous 2-tone seats with black and red leather, Alcantara absolutely everywhere. Now, if we go down here, you'll notice there's a little key slot right here. That is for a secondary key called the speed key. If you turn that, it lowers the car to 65 millimeters off the ground, and then it can reach its top speed of 254 miles an hour. This is the standard key, which actually is very similar to the Gallardo and a lot of Volkswagen products, with the flip-out style, which is pretty darn cool. Just look at the intricate details of the car's interior. I mean, look at the controls for the mirrors and the lock and unlock. The unlock button is a picture of a Bugatti Veyron. And if you go to the window controls, they're covered in leather. The seats are completely carbon fiber in the back. Look at the pedal box here, gorgeous aluminum. The design language is incredible. All right, let's hop inside. Now, inside the Bugatti Veyron, to start the car, flip out the key, insert it right here, turn it to the right, then click the start button. And that fires up that W16 engine. I think one of the coolest parts about the interior is that they didn't put any modern stuff in the car that would become outdated. They didn't try to put state-of-the-art screens or anything like that. Everything is analog and old school, like this absolutely gorgeous clock here. Now, driving a Bugatti, everyone stops and stares. This guy and his motorcycle just rode up, and so many cars have been pulling over, so it's almost hard to film. Look at this, Alcantara, beautiful Bugatti logo. You can see the air intakes behind your head and that massive engine. Alcantara all over the roof liner. The controls up here are also gorgeous and covered in leather. Even the mirror shape is really cool. The visibility is actually pretty impressive inside of the Veyron, even the rear visibility. Now, there are multiple modes to choose from. There is normal mode and then handling mode that drops the ride height down to 85 millimeters. We've got a launch control button right here. Behind the wheel of the Bugatti Veyron, and man, is this an unbelievable experience. You know, people give the Veyron a lot of flack for not being able to handle well, but honestly, if you really get behind the wheel of one of these and start to push it, it really holds its own. And with that all-wheel drive, you've got a ridiculous amount of grip. And then obviously, it surges forward with tremendous amounts of power. Oh my God. 1,001 horsepower, 992 pound-feet of torque. And when those 4 turbochargers spool up, the surge forwards is absolutely insane. The crazy part is how easy this car is to drive. Yes, it's a hypercar, and this was the first car ever to be called a hypercar. It basically coined the term legitimately, and it's really easy to drive. It feels like you're driving a really high-end Bentley that when you put your foot down, and I mean that in a good way, it's really comfortable, it's really refined and relaxed. Obviously, the suspension is a bit more firm than your traditional Bentley, but it's so easy to drive. You could daily drive this no problem at all. The only thing is the turning radius isn't so good. When you pull the lever into drive, you've got 3 different modes. Right now I'm in sport mode, where it's gonna automatically shift for me. And then you can pump it over again, that'll put it into drive mode. And then if you pull one of the paddles, it'll put it into manual mode, where you can shift that 7-speed dual clutch automatic. Now, this is the first car ever to have a 7-speed DCT, which is a pretty big deal. Back when this came out, this transmission was revolutionary in 2005, and it paved the way for modern cars. We still have all the modern supercars and hypercars with double clutch transmissions. So 18 years later, this technology is still at the forefront. Back when it came out, nothing was like it. It shifted lightning quick, and you couldn't even feel the shifts. It was almost surreal. Today, it's very commonplace, but this transmission, even 18 years later, feels as fast as a modern day double clutch, which is just absolutely insane. Now, compared to something like the Chiron, you get more noise in the Veyron. It feels more raw, which is really, really awesome. Now, I haven't driven the Super Sport or the Pure Sport, so I don't know quite what those are like, or the Devo, but this is so much more raw, standard Veyron compared to standard Chiron. It is really, really cool. The noises you get into the cabin from that engine and those turbos. The turbo spool is absolutely insane. And honestly, the steering feel is pretty good. And when the turbos do spool, you get this surge of power almost unlike any other car. It doesn't have instantaneous, it doesn't punch you in the back like a hybrid, like a P1 or a LaFerrari, because it doesn't have that instantaneous response. But it also doesn't ramp up uncontrollably. All the turbos are spooling up together in this unbelievable surge of power that just pulls harder and harder and harder, all the way up to its top speed of 254 miles an hour. This thing is absolutely incredible. So I gotta give a huge shout out to my friend Ted for letting me drive this thing. It's actually for sale now. I've got a link in the description below to the for sale ad. All right, an open stretch of road. Oh, this thing is unbelievable. Wow. Yeah, the acceleration is just ridiculous. I mean, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. Even today, that is still mind-bending levels of speed. And you get the drama that you don't get in something like an electric car, like a Tesla Plaid or, you know, a Rimac Nevera. It feels like you're driving a hypercar. It really does. A hypercar that you could daily drive legitimately to 100,000 miles if your wallet would allow for it. It really is just ridiculous. I love the interior, the beautiful leather-wrapped steering wheel, the chrome bits. This aluminum center console is absolutely gorgeous. We've got an analog clock, so it's not out of date, you know? There's no digital screens that are super old looking because this car, the specific one, was made in 2008. It's not like that whatsoever. It still feels modern and fresh. The leather quality is incredible in here. The Alcantara headliner, all of the switchgear up above my head is just insane. Even the mirror itself looks beautiful. It just all around is such a spectacular car. Man, I really want one of these things. Oh, I really need more money. I would love to own this car. No, it's not as nimble as something like a P1 or a GT3 RS, but it's not supposed to be. It's a car that you can cruise around in, but at the same time, it'll hold its own in the corners, in the canyons, and you can have fun in this car. It isn't just a straight line beast. It truly is more than just that. A lot of people give it flack for its weight, not being able to corner, but the people who say that really haven't driven the car. To put it into reverse, go like this, into reverse, and there we go. All right, back into drive, just like that. We'll pull the paddle to put it into first gear. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.